Do you read Stephen King? Good news, there's a club for you. The Losers Club. Every Friday, us losers journey through the never-ending wastelands of King's Dominion. We sink our teeth into each of King's novels, dive deep into the lore, and review every adaptation. Even better, we're always having guests over. Thomas Jane, Will Wheaton, Mary Lambert, Mick Garris, the list goes on. So what are you waiting for? Join us as we read on through long days and pleasant nights.
Consequence Podcast Network.
And welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith With. It's an audio interview series presented by WFPK Independent Louisville at WFPK.org, Consequence of Sound and the Consequence Podcast Network. If you're not already a subscriber to the series, now's a great time to do that. Hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening from right now. Maybe that's YouTube, maybe that's Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. You can get the podcast there as well, really wherever you get your favorite podcast from. Hit that subscribe button. Keep up with all the interviews that we put out, 3 a week usually, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and sometimes some bonus episodes on top of that. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, legendary bassist Stu Cook of Creedence Clearwater Revival. For the last 25 years in Creedence Clearwater Revisited. In fact, Revisited have just announced the farewell tour. They're hanging it up, putting the CCR songs back on the shelf for themselves. And I'm going to ask Stu what brought them to that decision, what the last 25 years has been like for Revisited and the importance of playing those songs live. But of course, that history goes all the way back. CCR starting in 1968. They released 3 records in 1969. 3 records! Having a 50th anniversary, and you know almost every song to all of those 3 records, I promise you. They were also one of the biggest bands at Woodstock 69. We'll be talking about that experience as well, and some of the things he's done outside of the band. It was back in the 80s that Stu produced a couple of Roky Erickson albums. Of course, we lost Roky earlier this year. We'll be talking about that experience, and we'll have some fun with movies. CCR's music has been featured in a lot of movies, and he's got a favorite. If you're a fan of the dude, you probably know what it's going to be. So honored to be talking with Stu Cook. It's Kyle Meredith with Creedence Clearwater Revisited.
Good morning.
I got to say what an honor it is to talk to you first. So there's an upcoming tour with Revisited and everything that's going on there, but we'll get to that in a second. I thought we'd start with the beginning because, you know, as anniversaries go, if we want to split hairs, it's kind of the 60th anniversary of the band, if you want to go back to the beginning, right? Like predating all the others.
Well, yeah, I guess you could look at it that way. I've known Doug for 61 years this September, and it was about a year after I first met him that we got together with John Fogerty and formed the Blue Velvets. So, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Amongst all the other anniversaries and celebrations going on, last year was Creedence Clearwater Revival's 50th, Woodstock 50 this year, Revisited 25 this year.
It's everything in there. I thought, you all having started, so 59, 60. I mean, it does. It's before the second wave of rock and roll. I mean, you all, by the time it all did roll around, as history has told many, many times, you had been together for a while, but to see all of that, I mean, it changed so much so quickly. What was that transition like for you all, and did you find it natural and easy?
Nah, I'm on the inside, right? So I have a different perspective than a writer or a critic or a fan in general. To me, it seemed like a fairly logical evolution, actually. We started with a core of music that we all agreed that we liked, rhythm and blues. Some country was, our core agreement. And as we got better, we became more able to express ourselves like the people we had idolized when we first began.
Once it all happens, it happened very quickly. It looks like
about a 3.5-year rocket ride,
yeah.
I recall.
But, when you talk about 1969, as many of us do, and especially on the 50th anniversary, a lot of artists are talked about, but it does seem like nobody had more of a 1969 than Creedence Clearwater Revival. I mean, 3 records in 1 year, which is, and all 3 of them are amazing. They're all great. Talking about Bayou Country and Green River and Willie and the Poor Boys. For something that's happening in that quick a succession, do those records do they sound separate in your mind, or is that all just one clump of music?
Well, it's a bit of both. I'd have to say that it was a pretty intense period for the band. Bayou Country was recorded in '68, but released January of '69, so it can be lumped in. But like I said, it was all part of. We would make singles. When you had enough singles, then you would almost had an album. Then you would do a couple of what they eventually called album tracks. And then you would have a complete record, and out it would go. But we were recording singles all the time, so it seemed like one long record to us. And when you got between 8 and 11 of them together, then you put out an album, and albums had just become the new medium. When we grew up, it was singles, 45s, right? Then came the long play. First, there was 78s,
right?
That broke very easily, and then the 45s were flexible vinyl, big hole in the middle, and then the long play, 33 and a third, double-sided. So maybe you could get, depending on the length of the program, you could get 4, 5, maybe 6 songs a side. So that was a change in the marketplace, in the industry. But for us, it was just making something for the radio.
Right, and recording. Somebody else almost. It sounds like somebody else almost slaps a title on it eventually to say these songs go together now.
Yeah. I mean, they had to.
Right. Well, so of course, you can't look at that year without Woodstock, and we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. The concert is finally getting released on August 2nd. I know that big box set is coming out as well. But in that moment, what I've got written down here was the moment versus what it became, because in that moment, was it just another show? Pretty
much. Yeah, it was the summer of festivals. There was festivals all over the country, coast to coast, and in the middle as well. At the time, it seemed like it was a pretty big undertaking, but they all were. We never really thought that it was going to be such a remembered event. There were bigger festivals for sure, and there have been since. But I think it was the spirit of the crowd that makes it stand out. I look at it now, and I think the bands were just the background music for some other kind of event that happened that hadn't happened before and hasn't happened since. That's my takeaway now. But on the other hand, when we came over the hill in the helicopter to get to the concert site, and there was a sea of humanity, it was quite a sight to behold.
Was there a moment that you noticed that it had become something different, years down the road or whatever?
Well, sure. I mean, once all the stories were woven together, and we had a film to document, to show all the stuff, you couldn't possibly know everything that went on, even if you were there. You couldn't have known everything that was transpiring. So the film was a great document of what people can do, how it can happen. It's mired in controversy right now. I don't know. Do you know if there's going to be something? Last I heard was that the venue had been pulled.
It has.
So sort of like the first one, right? They didn't have a venue either.
Well, Michael Lang has a way of it seems of. I don't know what's. I'll say a bit candidly here, and I'll make sure to point out that I'm not projecting. I'm not putting words in your mouth. It's my opinion here. That it seems like everybody tries to put on a festival, and they can pull it off once. Like anybody can do a festival these days, and that makes it really surprising to me that Woodstock has had so much trouble. Because if any festival is going to get off the ground these days, I feel like that would be one of the easiest. But it is marred in controversy again, and who knows? Because there are bands still on the bill. Whether or not it happens, I don't know.
I think it's anybody can do a festival. Michael Lang has done all the Woodstock festivals. Some were, the first one was the one. He's also did the one that turned into riots and chaos. So I don't know that it makes any sense to try and recreate with another concert, to celebrate the first one. But I'm watching this one from the sidelines.
Well, I do think it all is all about, as you mentioned, the spirit of it. I mean, as you said, that is what made that first one so memorable. '94 was a good concert. It was really, for a lot of the lineup right there. But Did music change the world? I mean, with all of that spirit and the music as the background, can it, and is that possible today, for something like this?
I'm afraid it isn't. I don't know that it ever was able to change the world with music. I'm referring to. It brings people together. It's a very unique art form in that it really doesn't have any guardrails, and it's very difficult for it to be co-opted. It's personal, it's universal at the same time. It's quite a gift, and combined with the spirit of Woodstock, people thought that there was something there, but on its own, music has devolved into some other kind of product, that you eat now. It's very disposable. So, I guess everybody would hope that eyes could be opened and kept open, but, we quickly move on. So, certainly John Lennon took a shot at that and, got a lot of attention and it made sense. But I think it has to be evaluated or, viewed with, what has actually changed. To try and keep it going is the hard part. The idea is always great, but keeping it going is the hard work, right? So right. I wouldn't expect that to be the true function of music. So it's always nice to have music, though. It may not fix the problems of the world, but it makes your day nicer.
I'll actually jump around too because there is the power of music making, because as Creedence Clearwater Revisited now, here you are on a farewell tour, but there is a partnership, right? Something that you guys are doing towards the end of the tour with a museum of music, making music, and the Friends of San Pasquale Academy. This has to do though with the power of music a bit, like those entities there, right?
Well, of course. Music is what brings all the energy together in one spot. But that alone isn't enough, right? People have to actually do the hard work. It's great inspiration in that my career has never failed to amaze me. how just something as simple as a 3-chord song can how far it can take you. I've been around the world several times based on 40 or 50 songs.
It also part of the farewell tour as you're being billed. Why is this the farewell tour? And does this mean retirement, or what exactly does that? Because that's a loaded word for a lot of people.
Yeah, I know. Retirement's bad, right? Work until you drop. No, we're hanging it up this year because we're still hitting on all 8 cylinders. We're consistent. We're having a good time with the music, but the road is just not a place where you want to be. We've done it for 25 years. We've been to some places, over a dozen times, and there's still time left in our lives to do other things that we also enjoy. We've all got bigger families now. We have grandkids, which we like to spend more time with, and we've still got some additional traveling to do. My wife and I are still checking things off the list. I like to spend some time in Central America, where I do a lot of vacationing, and it's just time to move on. Really, 25 years is 20 more than we ever thought we'd do this. So, it's been a great ride, and the support of the Creedence Clearwater Revival fans has been terrific. The project was started just to celebrate and honor the quartet, the work of the quartet, and to get us out of the house. And now it's time. I think we some of our time could be better spent around the house. So Doug and I are neither going to leave. We're not leaving the music business. We're not leaving music, but we are leaving the road.
I read that, when you all started Revisited, Doug had actually considered that he was probably retired at that point, 25 years ago.
Yeah. I ended up, I was living in Los Angeles, and, it was time for a change. So I ended up in Incline Village, Nevada, where Doug and his family had been living for 10 years or something like that, 10, 12 years. Forget exactly how many, but so we started hanging out, jamming all the time, and the idea to get back in the saddle was almost obvious, But up until then, distance had kept us from really focusing on any kind of collaboration. But when we just lived across town from each other. It made all the sense in the world to get together and hang out and start playing and looking for other guys to play. And so it was, we had no idea where it was taking us until now, this year we realized, it's taken us, we've gone as far as we really want to with this project. It's been a terrific experience, and we're always blessed to get a second bite of the apple, especially when it's so sweet. But I like to put it this way: there's more sand in the bottom of the glass than the top right now, and for me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to keep doing the same thing over and over again when I can be doing other things that I put on the back shelf.
Well, I know you've done producing and of course, collaborating all throughout your career. I did want to bring up one of those because you produced one of Roky Erickson's records with The Evil One, who we, of course, lost earlier this year. And talk about one of those artists who just deserved more. We're such big fans of him around here. Did you all keep in touch through the years?
Yes and no. We saw each other. I was living in Austin for a while, and I would see Roky around town and attend his performances whenever I could. But we recorded 15 songs together, which were spread out over 2 albums. The first one was called The Evil One. The second one was just shortened to TEO. Mm-hmm. So there's, in their original configuration, there are 5 shared songs and 5 different songs on each disc. But that was quite an experience. I think that was when I really realized what a record producer was supposed to do. Roky didn't make it easy for me, but we had a great time, and I think the result stands the test of time. It was a very productive era or period in Roky's life. Mm-hmm. He was really on his game. He had a lot of ups and downs, and I thought that the work we did together was some of the best that he did in his whole career. It came together in a kind of a crazy way. It was very organic, and I know that he liked the records that we did. So that's enough for me.
Is that something you're going to do more of? Or are you looking to do more of?
I really don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to scuba dive more. I'm going to play golf more. I'm going to ride my bike more. And I've every once in a while I'll do some project for somebody. I'll lay down some bass tracks for people that were interested in my style of playing. Want to incorporate it into what they're doing. I do that kind of stuff. I've had an offer to produce some tracks for other artists. I don't have a plan right now. The plan is to play great this year.
That's an easy plan. That's
yeah.
Keep it easy in the sights. I'll finish up here with a bit more of a trivial question too, because Creedence has probably been used in movies just about more than any other band. The songs in there, and I couldn't even pretend to start naming half of them. Do you got a favorite? Is there a favorite movie moment with a CCR song that you've got?
Yeah, I think that although it's not a song per se, it's in The Big Lebowski.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the dude's car is stolen, and he's talking to the cop about the incident, and he mentions that there was a Creedence tape, paraphrasing it. And the cop says, "Well, we might be able to get your car back, but I wouldn't hold out any hope for the Creedence tape." Words to that effect. Anyhow, it's always nice to be written into a script. It's almost better. It's almost better than having a song in the movie is to actually been inside the writer's head so much that Stephen King has done that as well with Creedence. He'll use Creedence to describe a time and a feeling, just to take you into his writing. So that's the highest honor, I think.
It just seemed like for a long time there, if there was a war scene, especially a Vietnam scene, you knew that right. Run Through the Jungle was going to be played, or Fortunate. You're one of those, something like that.
Yeah.
It was going to be played.
Yeah. Run Through the Jungle isn't even about the Vietnam War. So, but anyway, people associate, and then it's very difficult to unassociate, right?
Well, it's interesting, by the way, side note, Louisville, it's where I'm based right here, and we're the home of the Lebowski Fest. We have nothing to do with the movie, but we are the home of the Lebowski Fest. So,
and what happens then?
They watch them. It's been going on for like 15, 16 years every year. It's just one of those. I know they have different movies like that all around the country, the festivals, but they watch the movie. They've got games where, taking little scenes from the movie, and they've made it a game. They always have some bands around to play songs from the soundtrack and all that. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of kitschy fun.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's a lot of fun. So you're actually well represented here in Louisville, at least once a year, beyond all the usual radio airplay. So
I like it. Yeah, Creedence gets as much airplay as anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe more, to the chagrin of new artists, you know.
Well, it just goes to say, to show how well these songs were crafted and everything. And when you had, the original run and everything, and those songs and the Chronicle greatest hits, but to turn around with recollection or recollection, I think it's however you might say that. With
Either way.
Yeah, with revisited.
It works both ways. That was sort of the idea.
Yeah. Well, when you all did that again, to have that success prove itself again, I mean, because that became a platinum selling record in itself.
That's right. It's a double platinum album.
That says everything about those songs right there and what you all did. And I thank you all for the music, and I know many people do, but I'm so happy that it happened the way it did.
Yeah, it's all of us realize that we're blessed that we could still scratch our heads and wonder how we could have had not only one but two great careers from the original work. It's amazing we even had one career, actually. Given the music business.
Right. Congratulations on all of that, and congratulations on knowing when to hang it up for yourself, and to do other things. Be looking forward to this farewell tour and catching you guys out there, and I'll make mention of a special show September 25th. I know that's in partnership with the Museum of Making Music, Friends of the San Pasquale Academy, which is a nice good turn part of this tour. So, Stu, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for doing this.
All right, I'll see everybody at the Belly Up Tavern in Solana Beach for this great event that's coming up.
All right. Take care, man. We'll see you around.
Nice talking with you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Cheers.
Huge thanks to Stu Cook. Creedence Clearwater Revisited, their farewell tour happening throughout this year. You can find those dates on their website. And the Creedence Clearwater Revival Woodstock concert getting released on August 2nd. Hey, before you get out of here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening from right now. Again, you can do that anywhere you get your favorite podcasts from, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. And while you're there, give us a hi, hello, leave a comment in the comments section. Tell us where you're listening from, what you enjoyed about the episode. Also, you can rate this series, which is a huge help every single time. And from there, head to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can hear the biggest new songs of the day, lots of anniversary celebration spins, music news, and of course, these interviews as well. ConsequenceOfSound.net has your music and film news. You can also find me at Twitter at Kyle Meredith, Facebook/Kyle Meredith. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.